Recording
that
in
has
progress.
is more impact driven. At the moment, I'm selling my time, and that makes it very difficult to devote time to impact driven projects. I'm an ambassador for a young person's theatre charity, and I support other charities as well. But I would love to do more that's proactive in that way, and I always try and do the best I can. Obviously, I have built over the years doing this globally a really powerful and influential network. I'm really proud of the connections I've made, the friendships I've built, and looking around, and sometimes like the schoolboy in me, the little schoolboy that's still inside me, looks and goes, "Wow, look at who sees you as a peer and regards me as a peer." And I think that's a privilege, and I don't. That sounds a bit trite, but I mean this. It would be lovely to be in a position where I can exercise that privilege in a way that creates impact. So one really simple example of that, or let me give you two quickly. For 5 or 6 years, either side of the pandemic, I organised, along with local businesses where I live, but I initiated it with two other people. We just came from a pub lunch, an annual conference, an annual business conference in my local area, where I brought in from my network some of the best speakers in the UK and even internationally. And I know Renee Lee Rosenberg in New York was talking about joining the live stream of this. So if you're listening, Renee, that includes you, and thank you. So Renee came over from New York to speak at this conference, and it was all to raise money for local charities. So my objective was to bring in a level of speaker that a local conference in a small area like this would not expect to attract, and to provide the businesses in my community with a level of support and advice that they wouldn't normally expect, but also raise money for charity in doing so. And then within the PSA, we have the Charitable Foundation, which supports speakers who are struggling. And something I've been working on today, partly today, is now every year, five of us who have been recipients of the Hall of Fame award give up a day of our year, and we sit with six people who bid for spaces, and we mastermind with them. They present their challenges and we work through them and provide them with solutions. So you have six people who go away with new ideas to support them in their business, and we raise money for that foundation. So those are two micro examples of what you can do on a small level and make an impact. If I can do that on a broader scale, that would be fantastic.
Fantastic. Well, you're certainly someone who makes an impact, Andy, and it's been a great conversation today. I've really found that very helpful. I think people really will do. Being able to identify those 7 stages and the four I's, and then obviously that's a spreadsheet sort of system shortly, but you're going to soon have an app that people can utilize to be able to really do this and start to make more sense of strategically of their LinkedIn connections and their networks. And I love that idea, of actually identifying the groups first, rather than the mix. It's really, really, really helpful. So thank you for making some some real practical sense of this for us today. I think you've really done that. And if you want to find out more about Andy, go to lopata.co.uk and you can check in Andy there. Do you have a final message you want to just leave us with? We've probably got about...
Yeah, I think that the underlying message here, it goes back to something I said very early, is you can be thoughtful about the relationships that are going to help you move forward professionally without being manipulative. You can be thoughtful and authentic at the same time, but don't leave them to chance. Invest in them and invest in those relationships. If there's a final message, it's don't be the person who reaches out only when you need something, because you don't like it when people reach out to you like that. So don't be that person for other people. Make friends when you can, not when you need them.
Fantastic. Andy, brilliant catching up with you again. Let's not make it another 10 years more frequently. I think that's amazing. I think you've been on the show 3 times in 15 years, which is which is great. So on next week's show, we have our guest is Carson Kelly. And he's the founder of the Institute for Advanced Consciousness. So he's a real somebody with a real IT background, as well, but a fascinating man doing some incredible work. So next week we're going to be talking more about consciousness and the kind of leading edge of it, really. Which I think will be very helpful and valuable. If you've got any questions or comments, do drop me a note. hello@chriscooper.co.uk. Love to hear from you. And once again, Andy Lopata, thank you for joining us today and being you, and all the wonderful contributions that I know you're making around the world through your work. And best of luck with the app. I'm going to keep close to that because that sounds
Thank you.
amazing. So take care,
Thanks,
everybody.
Chris. My pleasure. Thank you.